Good morning and welcome to Talk About Strange. Thanks for joining me here today. Oh man, today is Friday, August 8th. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I said that I was going to record some stories this week and post some stories up. Put it in a post on Sunday. And man, it seems like we have Sunday and Friday, Monday. I mean, just where does the rest of the week go? It's been a crazy week. Anyway, I'm really happy to be back. I haven't posted a story on here since, I think I wrote down, June 28th, other than the live stream. So it's been a while. I'm going to give you guys a quick update on what I've been up to. Don't click away. What I'm going to do is I'm going to post right here the timestamp for when the story begins. So those of you who are not used to the channel, go ahead and go over here to the timestamp and listen to this phenomenal story that I'm going to share with you. And if you enjoy the story and you want to hear more, you can always come back and listen. But other than that, I'll give you guys an update on what I've been up to this past month and a half, real short, and more so what I've been up to this past week. So, and why I haven't shared it. Today's Friday. So anyway, so I keep saying so. Why do I keep saying so? Anyway, so let me get started with that. The past month and a half, most of you already know I had to go back and do some construction. I was just going to take on a few jobs, and man, they piled on. One job led into another job. I mean, I really got a lot accomplished this past month and a half. I mean, I managed to pick up a cheap truck. My brother helped me with that. I was doing some work for him. He picked it up and I worked it off. So, nice little 2010 Ford Ranger. And I did a bathroom remodel for him, did his upstairs stairway, did some banisters and stuff. Maybe I'll put some pictures up here of some of the stuff I was doing. From there, I went and did another bathroom remodel. I did a couple of toilet repairs, just in the internals, kitchen sink, everything in the kitchen sink. And I did another couple of tile jobs, floor tile jobs, some paint, which I'm not a big fan of painting anymore. But just a whole slew of stuff that I ended up working on got me pretty busy, obviously, so busy that I started to get kind of burnt out on it. I was trying to do this and trying to do that. I was trying to do my Sunday shows, and I fell behind and couldn't get caught up. So this past week, Monday, I finished those jobs. Yes. And I was really excited about that. But I'll tell you what, I finished on Monday. It was really hot. I mean, most of the time I was working was in this heat wave. I had to do some work on a roof. I was repairing all the cap and putting ventilation and stuff. So, oh God, that was probably 130, 140 on the roof at least. And on the roof, boy, what else did I do there? I put the cap on. Oh, I had to wrap all the fascia just a lot of stuff. Anyway, I finished that Monday. And when I got done, I was pretty toasted. So Tuesday, I just kind of relaxed and recuperated. Wednesday, we had our errands to run. Thursday, I actually got in here. My wife went away for the day. So I came in here to record, and there's just been some things on the honey-do list that she's been wanting to do, like rearrange the furniture and stuff. So I kind of just went right through the whole house. I rearranged the furniture. I even went and did some laundry, some of our bigger stuff, because we're on a well. Until we put the new well in, it's we can run out of water. It's not real deep well. So I asked her to wash on a lower setting in that. And so I took all of our blankets and big stuff for her and went down to the laundromat and did laundry and listened to some of our other channels here. And it was kind of fun, except for I forgot how loud laundromats can be. I mean, there was this mother and her kid in there, and I mean, they were just so loud. I could barely hear my phone. I was playing a video. I could barely hear it, and I was across the room away from them. I mean, they just did all they could do to be as loud as they could possibly be, but whatever. Anyway, I got that done, and then I came back here, and I recorded about 3 or 4 videos. And it's just, I had a lot on my mind, so I kept stopping and starting. So I decided to go ahead and I'm going to re-record them here today and see how I make out, even though we do have to take and run one errand today, but I still think I can get them done and get them posted between today and tomorrow. So there it is, everybody. That's the update that from this past month and a half of things that I've been doing. Hey guys, here I'm back. If you followed that timestamp, we are here now, and I'm getting ready to start that story. So I'm glad you stuck around and just jumped forward. And anybody else who made it through that long update that I had, thank you so for sticking with me and listening to that. So without any further ado, let's unlock this and get to this phenomenal story that came in from Patty. This is really cool. You guys are going to like this. And I got some other really good stories. I got quite a few stories to share with you guys once I get everything caught up. Next week, I do have some siding to do on the house. So I'm going to do the siding here. I'm finally home so I can work on the house, but I'm going to be sharing stories as well, the best I can as I do that. Okay. All right. I promised you guys we'd go to this timestamp and get started. So here we go. Hi, Steve. I wanted to reach out to you to share my Bigfoot encounter. I hope you find it worthy of sharing. Absolutely. Of course it is. In the summer of 1975, I was then a 14-year-old. My family and close friends and my parents, along with their 4 children, went on vacation to the Bighorn Mountains in Wyoming. In my family, there are also 4 children, I being the oldest and only girl with 3 younger brothers. I was the closest to my youngest brother, JJ, who was 10 years old at the time. The Dunn family had 2 boys, 13 and 7, and 2 girls, 9 and 5 years old. We arrived to our destination and immediately set up camp. Got tents put up, the fire lit, lawn chairs set up around the fire ring, and got our fishing poles and tackle boxes ready to go. Even though we had a large tent big enough to fit the entire family, my parents opted for the mattress and the back of the station wagon. Of course they did. They wanted to stay away from you kids so they could sleep. The Dunn family tent was set up about 4 feet from our family tent. JJ used a tarp and some rope and extra tent stakes and made a pup tent between the 2 trees. That was about 6 feet from the back of our family car. JJ and I were going to sleep there, leaving JJ and Ray in the family tent. All right. My dad's friend, RD, was the local sheriff in the community back home. He and Dad would set up empty pop cans to shoot them as target practice because they wanted to shoot off their guns. Sounds fun. It was going to be a weekend of fishing, camping, and having fun. Randy, the oldest of RD and Donna's children, was 13 years old and excited to get to the river. As soon as he got finished setting up camp, he was gone. My brothers and I were more excited to explore and run around the forest like we owned the place and scattered in different directions. As I walked up the path, my middle brother, JJ, 11 years old, was standing in the middle of the path looking up through the trees. He looked bewildered and was bobbing and weaving, walking back and forth on the path, trying to see through the brush and trees at something he was looking at. It looked like he was doing some sort of a strange forest dance. I found it funny and was laughing. I caught up with him and asked him what he was doing. He pointed and said, "There's a very tall man standing behind that tree." I stood next to him and looked in the direction he was pointing, but I didn't see anything. He insisted there was a man standing there. I kept saying, Where? I don't see anything." JJ was getting frustrated with me and pointed at the one biggest tree and said, "He's standing right there." Now I am bobbing and weaving, doing that same strange forest dance, trying to see what he's seeing. I couldn't see anything and began to think he was messing with me. I said, "I don't see anything. I'm going to head to the river," and started back down the path. I didn't get very far before I saw Randy coming up the path. I hollered hi and waved and then added, "Did you catch anything?" He just ignored me and kept walking in my direction. As he caught up to me, I could see that something was wrong. He looked like he had just survived an airplane crash. His face was pale and he looked like he was in shock. I said, "Randy, what happened?" He looked at me dazed and whispered, "Bigfoot took my fish." "What?" I said and started laughing. "Bigfoot took my fish." He mumbled something under his breath and proceeded down the path. I think he said, "I knew you wouldn't believe me." I continued down the path to the river. Once I got there, I was scouting out the area for what I thought would be the best spot to fish later. I found one and started moving a log and other limbs to set up. Before long, JR and Ray both made their way down, so I turned around and walked back to camp. I didn't want them to know where my spot was because they would take it. Later that evening after dinner, we all sat around the fire roasting marshmallows and were telling stories and just having fun. We all started hearing an owl, and my mom and Donna were discussing between themselves how strange that owl sounded. Then small pine cones started dropping and hitting Mom and Donna. Soon, Dad and RD was up out of their chairs and was scanning the forest area because they could hear something moving around. RD walked over to his vehicle and got his spotlight out and was shining it through the trees, looking to see if there was someone back there. They didn't see anything and sat back down in their chairs. Things seemed to calm down and we all went back to doing what we were doing until we were told it was time to get to bed. All 8 children climbed into their assigned sleeping places. The parents sat up longer visiting. I drifted off to sleep to the sound of their voices. I woke up sometime in the middle of the night because I could hear something walking around the camp. It didn't sound like it was any of us, so I laid there listening. I imagined multiple forest animals from raccoon to possum to fox. Soon it was walking around and around the pup tent, making a woof sound. It was then I realized it was much bigger than a raccoon. I sat straight up with my mouth open to scream for my dad when a hand went across my mouth. And then I heard a whisper, a shh, don't make a sound. It was JJ. He leaned closer to me and continued to whisper, it's been out there a long time. I've been sitting here listening. I whispered back, what is it? JJ replied, I think it's a bear. I was terrified. I really wanted to scream for my dad. I could see the car between the very narrow gap and the 2 flaps that acted as a door of the tent and had considered running out and getting in the car, but I was just too scared to move. I could now hear RD and Donna whispering, and the zipper of their tent slid across the metal teeth to open. As quick as it opened, it closed back up. Then I heard panic in their whispered voices. Randy saying something as well. JJ and I sat there holding on to each other in fear. I didn't know how long we sat there. I don't know how long we sat there like that, but soon it got quiet. So I laid back down and drifted back to sleep. I woke up to sunlight sneaking between the crack in the tent flap and the voices of all the parents talking. RD and Donna were explaining to Mom and Dad what had occurred overnight. The next thing I hear is tents being taken down and Mom telling JJ and I to get up and start packing up. JJ crawled out first, and then I followed him. I stood up and was walking around my side of the tent and saw huge footprints in the dirt right next to the tent that JJ and I slept in. They were so close that within inches or closer, they would have stepped right on us. I just stood there trying to comprehend what I was seeing. JJ said that he thought he'd heard a bear. I don't know exactly what a bear track looks like, but these were extremely large human footprints. I don't think bear tracks look like human footprints, but I wasn't sure. So I hollered to my dad to come over. Dad seemed very focused and his face showed concern. I had never seen that look from him before, and it made shivers run down through my body. Dad walked over and looked at what I was pointing at and mumbled something like, yup, and went back to taking down the tent. Yeah, we know what he was thinking. Goodness, man. It almost seems like he might have known something about, I don't know, just from the way he reacted. I walked over to where Mom was by the picnic table and asked why we were leaving already. Mom just brushed me off with don't worry about it and start helping. I grabbed the ice chest and carried it over to the car. We had that camp packed up so fast and was heading out for a new location in record time. We ended up going to Fox Park for the remainder of the week. Whatever it was that happened there was never discussed again. It was one of those topics that became taboo. Based on all the evidence and the events that happened from the moment we got there, I totally believe we had a visit from a Bigfoot, or maybe two. They were nonviolent and seemed more curious than anything. I have tossed this experience around in my head hundreds of times over the years. I cannot for the life of me understand why I couldn't see the tall man my brother was adamant he saw. This wasn't the only Bigfoot experience I'd had in my life. There's actually two more occurrences that would happen many years later, back to back in that same location. Again, I couldn't see them, only hear them. But those are stories for another day. The scariest experience I had involved a dog man. Nope. I would rather stand in the center of an entire Bigfoot clan than experience dogmen. Maybe I will share that at some point soon. It's hard to talk about because my body emotionally responds for days after talking about it. Anyway, I am new to your channel and I am loving being made witness to the remarkable events that are being shared here. Thank you for what you are doing, Steve. I wonder if the Klansmen appreciate that there is now a large population that are open to knowing about them, people who are both curious and fascinated, and who, for the most part, respect them and would never harm them. Yours truly, Patty. Patty, thank you so very much. I really appreciate that. What a phenomenal story. See, I told you guys, really great story, like a family outing story. We've had quite a few of them. Patty, I don't know if you heard some of the other ones, but if you go back through, there's some other stories kind of similar to what you guys went through. I'm glad it was a fairly decent experience. It could have been a lot worse. Like one of these other stories I have coming up is terrifying. Just be thankful that that was not the Bigfoot or Klansmen that entered your camp, because it would have been a whole different situation. You guys are going to want to hear that when that's coming up soon. But anyway, I really appreciate it. It's a great story. As for do they appreciate people knowing about them? You know, that's questionable. I think people have been exploring for them for a really long time. They probably don't want more of that. But at the end of the day, just I think becoming more open-minded and becoming educated about them, learning how to either avoid them or respect them is probably appreciated. So, but I don't think they're going to be watching this video. If they are, there's a lot we do need to learn about them if they're watching videos. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm going to get on to some other stories when I get back. Thank you so much for joining me. I will see you again really soon.